September 16, 1982. President Reagan. President, Mrs. Marcos, I am very pleased to welcome you to the United States. Mrs. Reagan and I have long desired to return the hospitality you showed us when we visited your country in 1969. Our two countries enjoy a close friendship built on a shared history and shared ideals. During World War II, Americans and Filipinos fought side by side to defend their freedom. The values for which we fought, independence, liberty, democracy, justice, and equality, are inscribed in our Constitution and rooted in the aspirations of our people. It benefits each of us through a wide range of relationships. Politically, we tend to see many world problems in the same general way. Your president is a respected voice for reason and moderation in international forums. The Philippines, together with its ASEAN partners, has taken the lead in seeking self-determination for the people of Kampuchea. In this spirit, I would also like to thank you and Mr. Marcos for your personal leadership and commitment to the care of refugees in Southeast Asia. With your direct support, the Philippine Refugee Center is a model of its kind in promoting self-sufficient development and restoration of human dignity. The Philippines and you, President, have a key role to play in addressing global economic development challenges. Cancun made a fresh start towards more effective and practical dialogue and improved cooperation between developed and developing countries. Mr. President, your leadership in this area is essential and widely respected. Under your leadership at home, the Philippines has enjoyed solid economic growth over the past decade. This is largely due to free enterprise and a friendly attitude towards private initiative.
The United States. Mrs. Reagan and I have been long looking forward to returning the hospitality you showed us on our 1969 visit to your country. Our two peoples enjoy a close friendship, one forged in shared history and common ideals. In World War II, Americans and Filipinos fought side by side in the defense of freedom, a struggle in which you, Mr. President, personally fought so valiantly.
Your country's efforts to improve the living standards of its own people are those we are happy to participate in through bilateral and multilateral economic assistance. Their continued interest in better nutrition has made the Philippines self-sufficient in grain production. We can also be proud of the success of rural electrification programs that are benefiting more and more remote areas. And I take it as a matter of personal satisfaction that both your country and my home state of California are pioneers in developing geothermal energy to replace expensive imported energy. The United States remains the Philippines' most important trading partner, and U.S. companies are the largest foreign investors in your country, reflecting confidence in your progress and economic growth prospects. We welcome the expansion of two-way trade between our two countries and are pleased that, as the most open country in the industrialized world, we have been able to sustain a growing market for the products of our manufacturing and industrial sectors. The United States considers itself particularly fortunate to have approximately 1 million people of Filipino descent living in our country today. They bring their energy and talent to bear and contribute significantly to the rich diversity of American society. Similarly, thousands of Americans, fascinated by the beauty of their country and its people, have chosen to live in the Philippines. Our security relationship is and is recognized as an essential element in maintaining peace in the region. This relationship is one of several that we have in the Western Pacific that does not threaten anyone and contributes to a protective shield that allows the entire region to develop socially and economically. President, under your leadership, the Philippines stands as a recognized force for peace and security in Southeast Asia through its bilateral efforts and its role in ASEAN, the center of regional policy in Southeast Asia. President and Mrs. President, the United States appreciates our close friendship and alliance with the Philippines. I would like to use this visit to further strengthen our relationship with your country. Nancy and I are personally happy to have you here. And, welcome to the United States. Welcome to our hometown. President Marcos. Thank you, President Reagan, Mrs. Reagan, members of the cabinet, distinguished guests, and friends of mine. On behalf of the 50 million Filipinos, Mrs. Marcos and I would like to thank you for your warm welcome to Washington and the United States of America. One of the few cities ever built as the capital of a great nation, this magnificent and beautiful city is, indeed, the key to understanding America's mysteries and the American frontier, home to the American people, as it was written. It never goes away. With its magnificent monuments, memorials, and sidewalks, your beautiful city commemorates the great achievements of your people over the past 2 centuries. But beyond that, it always rewards the enterprising and talented, the brave and strong, for their efforts and initiative. At the same time, when I stand here on American soil, I find myself standing in what could be the center of American government. The future depends on the man who sits in the White House. And the man sitting in the White House today is certainly creating a new future for our world. Because, Mr. President, I come from one of the poorest places in the world. I come from a part of the world that has an image of America with its ideals, dreams, and fantasies. I come from the Philippines, a part of Asia formed on the principles of American democracy. We have learned to love those ideals and principles and have lost millions of people who fought for them in the last war. We have always stood by these ideals. We will continue to do so at any cost, risking our property and our lives. But more importantly, our honor stands for the democratic ideals that are America's heritage. Mr. President, I am not here to burden you with additional problems. Because, as I have said in many speeches before my people and the world, by fate and providence, the United States of America faces the threat of modern civilization to the possibility of a second dark age. And America cannot fail. And here we come, the Filipino people, in His divine providence, God will guide you, strengthen your heart and hands, and strengthen those hands that are on the levers of power. I offer my prayers that we may be able to save humanity. If America fails, the world will be lost. So, Mr. President, I can assure you that in all of Asia there is nothing but a reservoir of goodwill for you, the American people, and the United States of America. Thank you again for your warm welcome and hospitality, knowing we will never be back. Note, the President addressed at 10:15 a.m. on the South Lawn of the White House, where President Marcos was greeted with full military honors. After the ceremony, the 2 presidents met in the Oval Office.
For you, the American people, and the United States of America, once again, may I say, thank you for your warm welcome and your hospitality, which I know we will never be able to reciprocate. Thank you.